Back to Tim and Sid. The Department of Player Safety has ruled on the Nazem Kadri cross-check to the head of Jake DeBrusk, and they just tweeted it out moments ago. Kadri has been suspended for the remainder of the first round for cross-checking DeBrusk. That would be a minimum of 3 games to 5 games. We haven't had the time to go through the rest of it to see that he would return if, in fact, the Leafs get through, but he will not be playing Leafs versus Bruins rest of the first round.
Why not put a number on it? What's George Parros in the league doing here? I don't quite look. Was it bad? Yes. Was it the worst thing I've ever seen on a sheet of ice? Absolutely not. Just put a number on it. You've done it for every other suspension Kadri's ever had. Just put a number on it.
Yeah, they're trying something relatively new. Like, we've seen guys before get some sort of indefinite punishment and have things carry over into the next season, right? But
Absolutely.
I don't know if we've seen he's out for the rest of this round for what that is, and I'm sure someone will correct me if we have seen it before. I seem to remember Matt Cook getting the entire playoff season, and then they decided after the team went out what he would get the next year. But this seems like the NHL is trying something new at an interesting time.
Aaron Rome, I'm being told, from the 2011 final also, Stanley Cup final for the Canucks, was out for the rest of that series. But this, look, again, just put a number on it. If the job of the Department of Player Safety is to suspend players, this is kind of an important time of year. Put a number on it.
Well, they're saying he can't return in this series, which, to be honest with you, if I'm a Leaf fan, I don't mind all that much. Right? Like, if it was going to be 5 games, that gets you to 7 anyway.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And listen, I'm not here to pick sides. I'm not here to play sides. I don't actually mind the idea of saying, if you are going to transgress, you're out for the rest of this series.
I hear you, Tim, but there's a part of me that...
They did it with Rome, too, right? Where I believe, now that you've jogged my memory, what happened was you're just not going to play for the rest of the series.
But that's the Stanley Cup final.
No, I know.
So I'm more willing to accept that. Here's what annoys me. When people in offices don't want to make a hard call. And this feels like that to me.
Well, it's 3 to 5 games.
But it doesn't have to be unless you give them 4 or 5
right.
or make a decision that you're paid to make, George Parros. Like, that's my point here. So we're just going to give blanket suspensions now, depending on how long a playoff series goes? Mm-hmm. That makes no sense to me. I'm just annoyed by that. Do your job.
Looking through things, I think Rafi Torres got one as well.
Right. Those were way worse situations than what Nazem Kadri did, in my opinion.
Right. But we're changing the way the game is officiated. I don't know if people understand. On the ice, off the ice, I think we're still struggling to understand where they're trying to go with these things.
Right.
You understand they're attempting to crack down once it looks bad.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the NHL's way of saying, okay, this looked bad for some, but maybe it's not as bad as we initially thought, because otherwise you would have heard 7 games or 6 games.
Yeah, you would hope.
Right?
Yeah, you wouldn't hear this round and the next, hopefully. Like, you would hear a firm number with that. I just think it's a fair thing to do for both sides.
Yeah, go talk to Columbus if, in fact, if the Leafs happen to reel off 3 victories in a row,
yeah,
and then Kadri returns for Columbus, imagine the or whoever it is the next round.
Yeah.
Could be Tampa.
Well, it could be the Bruins or the Leafs. Yeah. Like, it could be either one. Okay, so that's my beef with that, with how that's handled, Tim. Let's go big picture here on Nazem Kadri. This is not a guy you can depend on. This is not a guy you can lean on in moments like this. He's proven it over and over and over again. And now that we're here, and he officially is not going to help this team in any way, shape, or form, I think there has to be some harsh criticism. And I find there's an element of Leaf Nation that gives him a pass.
Yeah, you know why they give him a pass?
Because he's a Leaf.
No, because he's the only piece of sandpaper that team has.
I'll take that too. But what does that say?
The only piece of pushback that team has.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That after these years, after spending like $30 million on centers,
I've heard both sides.
This is it.
I've heard I don't want him on my team anymore, and I've heard if we had 12 Nazem Kadris, we'd be way better off than what we have.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I've heard.